Right guys, I'm Daniel Thompson. I do a lot of fitness, kind of motivational stuff online, and I'm branching out, getting involved in YouTube at last, because I feel like it'd be a lot easier for me to get across a lot of the information I'm trying to help you guys out with, whether it's kind of stuff that helps me personally in my life, fitness, nutrition, all that sort of thing. So bear with me, I'm a little new to this. Yeah, just bear with me, and I'm sure these videos will get a lot better as time goes on. Today I'm going to focus on something I get asked a lot about, and that is what is the best thing to do to develop your abs. So I'm going to run through 5 or 6, a handful of exercises that I think I get the most from, give you an idea of how I get the most out of each exercise, and hopefully it will be of use for you. A really important point to mention when you're training abs is you have to be able to control your breathing well and contract your abs, really kind of squeeze them in when you're performing certain exercises, and kind of inhale and exhale at the right parts of the movement. So I'm going to try and incorporate that into these exercises I go through with you. So ab exercise 1, hanging leg raises, which is a personal favourite of mine. These are great for developing the bottom part of your abs, getting that V cut as well. So the best way to perform these is as slow and controlled as possible. If you have trouble hanging from a bar to perform these, like some people do, if your grip strength needs to be improved, in the meantime, hanging straps, arm straps, are a great thing to incorporate into your workout, and you can clip them onto bars and they can hold you in position while you kind of improve on your grip strength to the point where you can be doing it by just using your hands. I would advise obviously trying to build up your grip strength so you can just do hanging leg raises without the use of straps, because you're going to be able to incorporate a lot more of the stability and core muscles when you're performing the exercise. So my second exercise is cable crunches, and that is normally using the rope attachment to the cable machine and performing a crunching motion coming down and making sure you stabilise the hips and contract the core as you pull in while breathing out. The key to this exercise is really bringing the elbows down towards the knees as you crunch, and exhale, blowing air out of your lungs when you perform the movement. Ideally, the best thing to do is start with a low weight and get used to the movement, and then you can start to load the weight more and make sure it's under control as you obviously progress and get better at the exercise. Okay, so my third exercise is decline sit-ups, and these can be performed in a number of ways. So you can do them with a weight, without a weight. Ideally you want to build up the weight and make the exercise harder as time goes on to obviously really keep testing yourself and testing your abdominal region. And I find the decline sit-ups do really target kind of the middle to upper part of the abs. The best way to perform these is on a decline bench. What you want to do is make sure that the bench is not too steep, and if you can, hold a weight up in front of you to make it a little bit more difficult. If you do struggle with that, however, you can remove the weight and keep the movement nice and controlled. On the way up, make sure you're contracting your core and breathing out, and then exhale, and on the way down you breathe back in. Exercise number 4 is the cable wood chop. Once again, using the cable machine and some sort of handle attachment, and it's more of a rotation movement as opposed to a crunching movement. So mixing things up a bit with the type of ab movements we're doing. The key to this exercise is making sure that you want to place the cable firstly around waist height. However, you can vary this for different variations, so you can have it obviously set really high or low if you want to vary the exercise. However, I personally like to keep it around waist height. Your feet should be fixed, hands out in front of you, and your upper body should not change. That's key. So you want to work through a 180-degree motion and then pause at the end of the movement and contract the core. Right, ab exercise number 5, the good old-fashioned plank. So to perform this, you get down almost in a push-up position. The beginner movement can start with your elbows on the floor, and then you really have to focus on contracting your core with this one, sucking your abdominals in, squeeze them nice and tight, kind of exhaling out, and pulling that midsection in. Then with your glutes, you really need to kind of squeeze, keep them nice and flexed, as if you're gonna tighten up and hold on to something between those. So that is a classic for really, once again, developing the core and that midsection, and everything really starts out with the core. You've got to have a strong foundation there, and it just feeds through with obviously all the other big compound movements like your squats, your deadlifts, your overhead presses. All of these help build that foundation, that strong core, which is so important when you're working out. Okay guys, the final exercise I'm going to finish off with is another favourite of mine. I call it the around the world. A lot of people have different names for this, but it's easier for me to remember that way, if I'm honest. And this is more of an advanced exercise, so you may have to work up for this. But it basically involves dangling from a bar in kind of that hanging leg raise initial position, and then moving the legs round in a circular motion and then back round the opposite way, contracting the core and keeping it nice and tight the whole time through the movement. This is great for working the whole of the midsection because you're really targeting your internal and external obliques. You're hitting the transverse and the rectus as well, so you're incorporating all that within the movement and once again building a more solid core. Okay, something I'll finish off with is the way I like to incorporate these exercises into a workout now and again is by compiling a circuit with the exercises. So maybe picking 3 or 4 exercises and doing them back to back with no rest. So for example, you could start with hanging leg raises, do at least 10, 15, 20 reps on that, move to the decline bench crunch, whether it's weighted or unweighted, it doesn't matter, whatever level you're at. Do another, say, 10 to 20 reps, move on to perhaps planking for a minute, do that, and then finish off with the around the worlds that I just mentioned, and once again do about 10 to 20 reps on that with no rest in between each exercise. When you've done that and you completed that circuit as such, you can have kind of a minute, 2 minutes rest, and then do it again another couple of times over, and you'll find that really does make sure you hit that midsection. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my first video, and please subscribe, share and get involved.